The SamandTolki Reddit thread said they got Boogie in a big whopper of a lie. Boogie claims they can't be trusted and that they doxed him. Hi, I'm Tommy C, and this is Shop from the Point News. I got to tell you, going over this story was a big pain in the neck. I was asleep when it broke, otherwise I would have had a video up earlier. But I'm actually glad that I got the time to sit down and go through all of this. Now, I'm going to try to be as neutral as humanly possible. I would, however, add commentary where I see fit, but I do want to stick to the facts because there's a lot more to this, and there's actually a lot of angles of the story that we're not going to cover. But we're going to go over the main parts. The facts that we know so far is Boogie got caught in a lie, and it has a lot to do with the research, some would say journalism, of SamandTolki. We also have an accusation from Boogie saying that they doxed him. While they didn't literally dox him in the traditional sense, the mistake that they more than likely made, and that's putting it kindly, that from what I can see has been corrected, could lead massive amounts of people to find out where Boogie lives. Now, we're going to go over this right here. This is the SamandTolki website. Boogie claims this is a hate site. There is an awful lot of stuff about Boogie. There's no doubt about it. Hate site is kind of a pejorative, I suppose. Does it go to? Yeah, I think it's definitely a site that hates Boogie, if that's what you could call it. But I don't know if absolutely everything that comes out of it is inaccurate. And in this case, we'll go over. They actually found a very, very more accurately. They actually profiled the misstep that Boogie made. That's better put. Now, the first video that I think explains it a little better, and this guy's only got 27 subs. Cool Kaju, he put this thing perfectly. I mean, this is a very, very, very good video. I thought it was very well done, and we're going to start it, where the story sort of picks up. It also sorted out the information I got was so convoluted and so difficult to follow that, we just couldn't put it all together. Okay, this is the Enter Haber part of the video, and Haber apparently is a moderator for SamandTolki. I'm going to let Cool Kaju do his best right here.
The only apparent active moderator of SamandTolki is Haberdasher A. Haber takes claims like this very seriously and began digging through moderation logs, finding nothing to support the theory that this was a concentrated effort on the subreddit to swat Boogie.
All right, basically what he's saying, a little background. Boogie has claimed that this site has made concentrated effort to swat him. The SamandTolki moderator says that is, or he couldn't find any evidence of it.
When Haber called Boogie out, Boogie responded by saying he didn't know who called in the swatting. Quote, "I just said I got swatted twice last month. Once when I was away at the Game Awards and another over Christmas break. This is true." End quote. Remember that line and those timelines. Boogie doubled down on his original claim that he was swatted twice in December. What Boogie didn't seem to realize is that local law enforcement in the town of Fayetteville, Arkansas, where Boogie currently lives, are required by law to, and I quote, "document each of the below listed incidents occurring in the police department's jurisdiction in the records management system." Bullet point C states, "incidents resulting in an officer being dispatched or assigned." Meaning, if Boogie did get visited by the police, it would be documented. Haber has access to Boogie's address, and very importantly, did not share that address or any other personal information other than the fact that he, Haber, combed through 4,587 dispatches in the month of December and found that the police, EMS, or the fire department were never sent to Boogie's place.
Okay. Now, Haber's saying he combed through 458,000 total dispatches that came to Boogie's house. And that's technically true, but I want to put this in perspective. This is the website in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where Boogie lives. You wouldn't have to comb through them. What you'd have to do is search for Boogie's address right here if you had it. And I do want to put out, like, simply by having Boogie's address is not an act of doxing in itself. Having Boogie's address and spreading around for malicious for a malicious reason, I think that qualifies as doxing, and that's usually what's listed when they have laws against doxing. Not all states in the United States have laws against doxing. So if you had that, let's. I'm not saying that SamandTolki or journalist, but if you have the address and you use it in a journalistic manner, like Boogie said, I was swatted in December, okay? And you take his address, you keep it to yourself, you keep it private, and you do the search to contradict that. That's journalism. I mean, I've done the same thing. I had to do that with the J Station thing yesterday. I have people's address, and I think if I don't spread it maliciously, and of course it's journalism, because that's what journalists do. That's how you're able to knock on Onision's door. No, just the act of having an address is not doxing in itself. It could be used as long as it's used in a journalistic ethic. I think that's fair to say. As far as combing through, it sounds a little dramatic. It doesn't take very long. I had my guys confirm. I confirmed this because they did the search themselves. So I guess I'm a doxer too because I have Boogie's address. And it was pretty easy to look up, to be perfectly honest with you.
When approached with this information on Twitter, Boogie spun a new story. Quote, since the July welfare check, they, the police, don't include it in the blotters. We established that it's just harassment, and they don't want the people doing the harassment to get their reward, was my understanding from the cops I've spoken with. So according to Boogie, the cops made a special agreement with him to protect him by not recording their visits. Seems suspicious. When pressed further, Boogie suggested this was all a mistake on their end. One individual even took it upon themselves to email the Fayetteville police. The Fayetteville police responded, and I quote, no records are ever purged from our system, and there has never been, nor ever will be, an understanding with police or dispatch to omit calls from public records.
Okay, here's the thing about this. This is going to go, look, while Boogie's story sounds like he's changing the narrative, and I think that's fair to say. I think Cool could you put that in perspective. I want you to think, if there is an agreement with the police, this wouldn't be a public agreement, all right? And certainly, violating the law, the police would never admit to that. That doesn't prove that Boogie's not lying, but I just want to put things in perspective here. Cops do cut deals, and cops do, sometimes they don't report things. Now, the official statement from the police department of Fayetteville is not a surprise, because that's what their police officers are told to do. That doesn't mean their police officers do it. But I don't think that really helps Boogie all that much. Dramatic music.
Now you gotta see this. It's a massive direct message, but I'll fill you in on the important parts. Should I finally tell you guys the truth, or should I keep milking this one? I was shocked to see they latched onto the swatting thing, though. It's not even much of an exaggeration because I got swatted like 4 times last year. I couldn't possibly hope that Haber would try to make it all about himself, and the fact that he poured through police records and doxed me to get my address? Wow, just insane. It couldn't have played out better.
It doxed you to get your address. Well, you would get your address and dox somebody. It's a little the other way around. But Boogie actually has some strong ground in this, and I'll explain that later in the video.
You guys always accuse me of being manipulative, so I thought maybe I would finally give it a try, and men at work. I should have been doing it all along, but it's just not my thing. But this was my friend's idea from a PR firm to throw you guys a bunch of misinformation and see what you did with it. So Boogie reveals he was lying and manipulating people.
Some PR firm.
And that they played right into his little trap. He then turned up the heat by claiming, quote, am I willing to risk going to jail to make you guys look bad? Absolutely.
Now, this is the Twitter hack part of the video. Nobody knows, and Cool Kaju does not say he knows one way or another. He just calls Boogie's credibility into question. Boogie has claimed that his Twitter has been hacked. What's unusual is nobody's actually wrote anything, so it is a little suspicious, but we don't know one way or another whether he was hacked or not. But all we know is a couple tweets have been deleted, and the avatar's been changed. It is suspect, I'll be honest with you.
Boogie has now, 1 day after the grand reveal, been hacked on Twitter. Or has he? After everything that's been going on, would anyone really put it past Boogie to fake this as well? Interestingly enough, in September of 2016, Boogie penned a post on Medium titled, "Getting Hacked as an Internet Creator," where he even gives advice on how not to get hacked in the future, such as using two-factor authentication and not using a public email address as a recovery email.
Okay, that is sort of interesting. It doesn't say whether it's hacked or not, but I found a video where Boogie said it was my fault because I put this on a public email address. That's a little weird for somebody who's giving advice.
The coincidences are staggering. The hacker has only deleted some tweets, his profile and banner picture, and his description. They left the link to his travel YouTube channel and have not made any tweets themselves. This happening one day after stating that Boogie would be willing to go to jail to make our SamandTolki look bad. I'm not convinced. And now, Boogie has made an ominous threat regarding the situation. What that means, I guess we'll find out.
I will expose them for doxing hackers and being transphobic. P-word. I don't know if I'll get hit for that or not. I get hit anyway sometimes if I don't curse. They are, you will see. You will see. Now, Boogie would go on to make a video. He put this out, Boogie2988 exposed. A bulk of the video I was very, very unimpressed with. It's a kind of setup is your word against mine. In other words, these guys are really mean and awful. They're transphobic. They've said mean things before. Therefore, that you shouldn't believe them. He does admit in the video, so we can say it's 100% fact that he did lie about being swatted. But the rest of the video is really trying to call the credibility of SamandTolki into question. And I think the problem for Boogie here is that was the only major question from SamandTolki. Now, you could count some of the people that are part of that subreddit that made outrageous accusations, but the main thing from Haber is you lied about being swatted and we proved it. Now, he does go on to admit it, but spends a bulk of the video trying to just discredit them based on, really, I got to be honest, SJW crap. I'll be perfectly honest with you. They're mean. They've said transphobic things. While that may be all true, it doesn't change the fact that the main part of their accusation is 100% true. But, however, Boogie does a pretty good job of explaining himself and also pointing out that these guys are pretty irresponsible with his personal information. That seems to be a fact as well. I'll let Boogie defend himself.
And a manipulator for a really, really long time. And after talking to my friend at the FBI, after talking to a friend in PR, they made a suggestion, and that was to bait them and see what would happen. So I did. I had a private conversation.
I tell you something, and this is personal. It's not we saw in one of the private tweets that Boogie. We saw in one of the private tweets that Boogie said a PR firm reached out to him, or a friend in a PR our firm reached out to him and told him to do this incredibly stupid idea, right? Which he now admits was stupid. But now we've upped the ante to somebody in the FBI. I just can't imagine an FBI. First of all, I can't imagine him knowing about the public relations of YouTube and to give that sort of information out. Like, how would he know to do? How is misinformation going to help Boogie, especially if he's caught? And he's essentially been caught. I just find that strange.
Conversation with somebody I knew who posted on that message board, and I filled it full of tons of misinformation to see what they would grab a hold of. Now, I want to show you these receipts, but someone probably from that subreddit hacked into my Twitter today. I don't have access to it. As soon as I do, I'll link this video, I'll link all of this stuff and show you guys. But take my word for it, I told them all kinds of outlandish stuff. I told them that I was writing a book, which is not an entire lie, but I told them that I was swatted twice in December. I told them that that I dated a girl that was 43 years old for the last couple of years because I wanted to see what they would do with this information, and I just wanted to keep them busy. I wanted to bait them based on what my PR person said. They said, give them something to talk about. So I did. What they latched onto, though, I was totally surprised with what they latched on because they incriminated themselves so beautifully. that I can't.
Why would a PR person tell you to keep them busy when you don't want them talking about you? It just doesn't. It just doesn't make much sense. And what's the payoff? You give them a bunch of misinformation. They find something that's actually true. I mean, it is true that you weren't swatted in the month of December. That does not make sense.
If you have respect for these people after me showing you this, then I don't want you to have respect for me because I no longer respect you.
Well, here's the thing. Whether I respect them or not, and to be perfectly honest, I don't respect anybody on Reddit. If they have a fact is a fact. A fact coming from a liar is still a fact. A fact coming from bad people are still facts. So what they latched onto, it's not what they latched onto. They found something. I feel like I'm talking to Nerd City. Whoops.
Right here in one of the most upvoted posts on this entire subreddit, they show where they both doxed me, where they searched police records involving my address and my home information, and they have literally gone completely batshit insane. First up to...
Let me make this clear again. Although Boogie does have a case here as we go forward, okay? Searching records is not doxing. Doxing is I put the address out there, go mess with this dude. That's doxing. Right now, this information, from what I can see, is being used journalistically. Whether they're a journalist or not doesn't matter. Anybody can practice journalism. Not everybody get a degree, but anybody can practice journalism.
Do this, they had to look up my private information, including my address, and that is doxing me. Then they...
Yeah, see, that's not true. Looking it up is not... So I guess I doxed Onision when I tried to make sure... When I tried to verify something. Sorry, that by itself isn't.
Deep dove all of these police dispatch logs. He literally says he spent the last 4 days going over these records. This is not a healthy behavior. This is not what a healthy person does. They searched through 4,587 records to look for my address, to try to catch me in a lie that, by the way...
That takes... This is what Steve's address... That's not that obsessive. You know, come on.
Was from a private conversation that got leaked. That's how obsessed these people are. That's how dangerously mentally insane these people are. It's absolutely crazy.
Now, well, I do think that the SamandTolki Reddit that is toxic. That, again, can also be considered journalism. And Boogie is a blue checkmark public figure. So the thing is, and I notice this with YouTubers in general, when they reach this public figure status and they are being sort of investigated by news channels, drama channels, or even the mainstream media itself, there's always this sort of excuse put out there that you're being obsessive. Well, that means... Every reporter is being obsessive, and since we don't license journalists, anybody can do journalism. So I guess I don't appreciate that as far as what I do. I don't consider myself a journalist. I consider myself to do some kind of... I don't believe in journalism. That's another story for another time. But I think I can do it in an ethical manner. And to pass anybody off that looks your records as some kind of obsessive a stalker, I think is unfair for people that do this legitimately.
Now, he has since edited that post, but originally, in his original post, he listed the 3 dates that he did find that I did have visits from the police.
This is a problem. This is where they blew it.
And any idiot could then go to those police records, which are publicly available, and backwards engineer my address. That's why I'm saying I got doxxed, because any moron from that point could look at the date that he originally posted, look at the only welfare check of that day, and then 30 seconds later show up at my front door with a gun. That is a violation of Reddit policy. Reddit needs to deal with that, not me. I ain't dealing with that.
Okay. He is 100% correct here. While I do not believe that they posted this with intent to have Boogie dox, it might as well be a dox, because he's absolutely correct. If you put the proper dates where he did get a welfare check And all I got, that's it. It's easy to see the address. You got the dates. You go here. You put the dates in. The search comes up. I have Boogie's address. While that is exceptionally irresponsible, it's not even close to being excusable. I mean, this is look. If you're going to do journalism, you have to be held up to the ethics of journalism, and this does fly in the face of SamandTolki's credibility, and this was extremely dangerous. You know, this thread, this site is pretty much a Boogie site. You know, it might be okay to accuse you guys. Yeah, you put it up there because you wanted people to reverse search it. And that's a reasonable criticism, because this site is into Boogie doing bad stuff. There's no doubt about it. It is a site that hates Boogie. Whether that constitutes a hate site, I don't know. Whether it's a hate site or not, does that matter? I don't think so. They still found what they found. But yes, this criticism by Boogie saying that they doxed him, or at least doxed him by accident, is 150% on. Okay, while I was editing this video, I realized I left something what I thought was important, pretty important out. Here you go. Watch Boogie.
Now I'm going to go think long and hard about posting this, because in order to post this, I have to publicly admit I may have done a felony. Guys, thanks for watching.
Let me put your mind at ease, all right? If you are referring to lying about being swatted, unless it was under oath, I think you're going to be okay. Giving out misinformation by itself is not a crime, unless you've put your hand up and put your other hand on a Bible, in most cases. If there is a law about giving misinformation about being visited by the police in Arkansas, I would be absolutely flabbergasted if that's what he's referring to. Filing a false police report, not telling the public that the police have come to your house when they haven't. It's a felony. Please, if for some reason anybody's watching this, if I'm wrong, I would like to see the statute that he violated in Arkansas, and I will happily retract everything I just said. Now, if I can give my personal commentary on this thing. And by the way, Boogie follows me. I wouldn't call us friends or anything like that. I've never had any long conversation with him. And I generally like the guy and want him to succeed. But this controversy was totally unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. Because this is Boogie's continued problem to actually go out of his way to address critics that you don't have to address. If they're saying horrible stuff about you that can't be proven, you can't address them. As frustrating as it can be, believe me. I've been accused of assaulting children. And it's just, the most you can do is say, I didn't do that. And at least that puts the ball in their court to come up with the evidence themselves. So Boogie has this problem, and it's a horrible, horrible problem, where he pays attention to everything that's done about him, watches every video that's done about him, pays attention to these Reddit threads with people that absolutely hate his guts and would love to see him fail and burn. And all it has ever brought him is stuff like this. It's something to keep in mind. You have all these hate guys, and then finally you hand them a nuclear weapon and show that you're lying. And the only thing that you really can come up with is somebody told me to do that. It doesn't matter if they're a hate site. They didn't have any credibility before, but by putting forward proof that you lied and now you admit it, now they have some. And I have to make it abundantly clear that simply by virtue of having your address, depending on how they acquired it, is not doxing. But SamandTolki site, hey Haber, they blew it. Absolutely. They did at least accidentally dox Boogie. I think that's fair to say. That's all I got for you today on Shot for the Point News. I thought I'd shed some light on this recent YouTube drama. We'll follow it and see where it goes. I can't imagine somebody from SamandTolki not responding to this. Take it easy. Peace.